On this episode, we chat with Taopiphop Limjitrikorn, beer advocate and member of Thai Parliament.
So if you want to get an inside look into the world of craft beer, entrepreneurship, Thai politics, and how they intersect, you'll dig this episode of the Bangkok podcast.
Sawadee krap, and welcome to the Bangkok podcast. My name is Greg Jorgensen, a Canadian who came to Thailand having never seen a ghost. But after having lived in Thailand for nearly 20 years, I can confidently say that I have still never seen a ghost.
Wow, maybe you've taken my critical thinking class, Greg.
Maybe.
And I'm Ed Knuth, an American who came to Thailand on a one-year teaching contract 19 years ago, fell in love with checking the air quality index every morning when I get up, and I never left.
Nice.
We want to say a quick thank you to one of our patrons, James Gonzalez, who supports us at the show shout-out level. Stick around after our interview with beer advocate and member of Thai Parliament, Taopiphop Limjitrikorn, to hear our advice why James should not be a criminal when he moves to Thailand. Don't forget that patrons also get a whole bunch of cool stuff, including our regular show a day early, behind-the-scenes photos of our interviews, discounts on swag, which you can newly find on our website, and various other things that aren't available to regular listeners. But best of all, patrons like James also get an unscripted, uncensored bonus episode every week where we riff on current events and random topics. We just finished recording this week's bonus show, and we chatted about Greg's beach vacation and why his return to Bangkok bummed him out for the first time in many years, how an overseas education for Thai people often turns them into jerks for some reason, and why keeping relationships going with your family on Facebook can be a bit of a minefield, to say the least. We also have a special mini episode just for our patrons, where we do a short introductory interview with our special co-host Bowling, who's coming up at the end of the show for our new segment, Token Thai. To become a patron, head to bangkokpodcast.com/support.
Yeah, I should also mention that special quick mini interview with Bowling will be released as like a separate show, not as part of the regular bonus.
Correctamundo.
Correctamundo. All right, well, before we jump into it, I have to mention one of our fans, one of our listeners named, I think I'm saying this right, Chewy.
Wow, cool name.
Yeah, it's like a sound effect. Well, so Chewy, I don't know if it's a he or she, but they left us a review, and it's suspicious because it sounds like it's spam. But I did a little bit of Google foo, and I think they're a real person. But I just wanted to read the review because it makes my head swell. It says, "I am really glad I found this podcast. I love Bangkok so much. I wish I lived there, but I don't. So this is the next best thing. Honestly, I live, love, loathe because I get to hear a little offbeat things about Thai culture, and it makes me ache to visit even more. My fave episodes are neighborhood reviews, namely Soy 11 and Tong Law, blue heart, red heart emoji. I have pinned those two spots for when I next visit. I, love, this, podcast, so, much,
Wow, okay, that's probably computer generated, but I don't care. I'm going to pretend it's real.
Yeah, me too. I think that was a real person. Chewy, thank you for your interview, man, woman, or computer, whoever you are. We appreciate reaching out and letting us know what you think of the show.
Yes, I'll take it.
I especially like the red and blue Thai hearts.
Yes,
all
I
right.
like that.
So this episode is part 1 of 2 with a very cool fellow named Tao. So on one hand, he is Taopiphop, beer advocate, bar owner, and regular dude who likes to ride his bike and chill out with friends. On the other hand, he's Taopiphop Limjitrikorn, member of Thai Parliament representing the Future Forward Party, and one of a group of young new politicians that are working to change a system that has long favored the top of the pyramid. So on episode 1, this episode, we're going to talk mainly about his love of beer and his run-ins with the law for trying to brew his own, plus how entrepreneurs in Thailand are often held back by outdated rules and pointless regulations, and how all of this sort of came to a head and pushed him into the world of politics. So here is our interview with Taopiphop Limjitrikorn. All right. Well, we are sitting down here at a very nice little walled-off garden close to the SkyTrain, so you might hear that go by every once in a while. But we are sitting down here with one of the people that we've thought would be a really great guest for a long time. This is Taopiphop Limjitrikorn. Did I say that correctly?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg and Ed. So I've been your big fan for the Bangkok podcast for a while and listen to all the episodes. Like since the beginning. So it's been it's really honor for me to be on the show.
Oh, the honor is all ours. Now, your name is Taopiphop, but your nickname is Tao.
Yeah.
Not Tao, right? Not turtle.
Not got Tao or something. Like just Tao or something.
Tao. Okay. I'll just call you Tao. So you are, for people who don't know, I guess we could call you maybe sort of a Renaissance man. You're a beer advocate. You are used to be a tour guide. You're a former lawyer, and probably most prominently, you are a Thai MP, a member of Parliament.
Yes.
And you are an MP for the Future Forward Party. We're going to get into all of that later. But first of all, I want to learn more about you. So you trained as a lawyer. You stopped that. You started as a tour guide. You started to brew beer, and then you became an MP. How did that story happen? Tell us your background there.
So actually, I kind of lucky to be born in a middle class family. Who my dad graduated in Germany. So when I grew up, he told me about a lot of beer story that every villages in Germany they have different beer. And, on the weekend, he will travel to different villages and try different beer. And actually, I grew up in the countryside area. The province is called Ubon Ratchathani. And then when I was 12 years old, I moved to Bangkok, and with my brother, living alone with my brother. So I really lucky, that I learned to grow up in a hard way without my parents. And then I stuck in Bangkok since then, because I'm finding some opportunity. So when I got into Thammasat University, in the law school, so I study because I just don't know what I gonna do back then. So I just graduate and have some degree and figure out life later. But then I was a lawyer for 2 years, and then in one case, where I was in the court, it's about the property, it's about the land. One of the poor farmer came in and without any shoe, any sandal, because he was too poor to afford like a nice pair of shoes in the court and a nice coat. And then in that case, I'm getting his land, for my company. So when he go in front of the judge and the judge tell him to take an oath, and he just stopped for like a few seconds, and he told the judge that, "Oh, sir, I cannot read." So judge told me that, "Oh, okay, lawyer, can you read the oath for him?" And that moment I was shocked, and like how he signed the contract that to give his land. I felt like I'm representing the wrong side of the law. So at that time I said, "Oh, okay, it make good money, but okay, let somebody do it." And I start to think that what's next, because when you're young, you think like very short and like, quit lawyer, and then like, what else? I don't know. I love travel, so I learned to be a tour guide, and then I became a tour guide for like 5 years, like bicycle tour guide for a company near Khao San Road, and it was really a good time, and I was a free diver. Guide to snorkeling tour guide in the south, so just see the world as much as I can, because my family cannot afford me to go abroad for like another of my friends. But then I think I learned something in the university that I love drinking beer a lot. So
I think a lot of people learn that in university.
Yeah, I used to be like a champion in law school. Like I'm the representative when we have the beer drinking competition, and then like I just go and drink like a lot, and then like, oh, my mom said that, oh, don't drink beer a lot, it's not good for you. And in my mind, I think like, one day I will prove that I'm drinking for good, and then I start to taste some different imported beer. Like 5 years ago, they start to have some of the foreign beer like Brewdog, like those IPA or Weizen, and then the beer is different. There is another beer, not only the animal brand local beer, local lager
No
beer.
Chang, no Tiger. It was more.
I try not to mention them.
That's okay. I mean, I drink those beers and they're perfectly fine. But there's a lot of beers out there to sample.
Yeah, no offense, right? Those some of those is good beer too. So all beer should be created equal, right? So when I drink a lot more and it's very expensive. So how I solve this problem? Okay. I Google and how to make beer, how to brew beer. And then I came up with some of the article about home brewing. And then I start to try to order ingredient online. And then I go to the old Chinese neighborhood, like where like Nakhon Kasem, that where they sell some of the hardware. Right. And I find like some of the noodle shop, pot and something like that, and I modify it and I brew beer by myself. And I think the first time, this beer is really good. I mean, like if you do brew your first batch of beer, is always good,
right?
Like because you don't know what is good beer.
if you tasted that beer now, what would you think?
I don't think it would be great like that. But yeah, the first half is like always good, and yeah, I keep on going, and I got some very good opportunity that I become a Mikkeller beer tender. Mikkeller bar, they have 30 taps of beer, and yeah, at that time I learned a lot because there are not much customer. So I always like taste some beer and look on the internet about beer, and then I become a beer judge. And 1 year at the bar is enough. I have learned everything, and then I just quit and I will start my own speakeasy bar and illegal nano brewery in Nonthaburi.
Right.
And then like maybe I brew it for 2 years, and then I get caught by the excise officer, and then they told me like to pay a lot more money than I expected, or more than the law said. So I as an ex-lawyer, I know the law, right? So, no, it's not this law, but they resist to fine me more. So, let's go to the court. And then they call the journalist, the newspaper, to make the news. And that's how I hit the headline in the next morning.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, for those who don't know out there, Thailand's beer laws and alcohol laws are unusually restrictive. And there's a very, very high import tax on imported alcohol, to the point where, if you come to Thailand as an expat to live here and you're a wine drinker, you're going to be really pissed off because a bottle of good wine is not cheap. And in terms of beer brewing, I think there's a law that says you can only brew beer if you brew over 10 million liters a year.
Yes,
I think
10 million liters, and you need to have like 10 million baht of the capital of your company. So I calculate by myself, like if I want to start a brewery to match that permit, as just minimum, you need 1 billion baht.
1 billion
in
baht
investment.
Yeah.
So in the country that people earn like 15,000 baht a month, like who can do it? Nobody.
Not even a lawyer could afford that.
Yeah.
So brewing beer is illegal, and getting to the point where it becomes legal for someone is tipped so heavily in favor of large corporations that it's almost impossible for small guys to do it. And now we've done on the podcast before, we've done a series of shows. We've interviewed people who own beer bars, and we've talked about beer brewing and stuff. And craft beer is going through sort of a resurgence right now. Over the past, I'd say 5 or 6 years, it's become very, very popular. And there's a lot of places opening up, like the place we're sitting at right now, which is your bar. So what is the? Can you tell us a little bit about the current scene? Like, is the momentum building to have these laws changed or amended?
Yeah, because I think we honestly we not really well organized. Like many people want beer to legalize, but we don't have like really organized method about it. Way to do it. So okay, we have Pichit who in Coincidentally who teaching people to home brewing beer.
That's chit beer on
Yeah,
Cockrat,
shit beer, shit beer, and so spell with C, not S. Okay.
Yeah, it's not shit beer. It's chit.
yeah. Shit beer is good shit. That is his motto. Right?
You know, sometimes Ed and I and some of our friends do some bike rides, and one of my favorite bike rides is to ride from Taksin Bridge, close to where I live, and we have a really nice route all the way up to Cockrat, and then we stop at Chit Beer and we drink until we're pretty drunk. The secret is having a van ready to drive you back home.
Oh, that's good.
It's a great day.
Drink responsibly. Right?
Exactly. I don't want to ride.
So we have that guy who want home brewing to be legalized.
Yeah.
And so I think like as a lawyer, I think like okay, if we just do like a mob, is not good, right? Because we in the military government or some sort like that. So I think who make the law, who can change the law? Okay, the law is made in the parliament. So personally by myself, I want to do it in parliament. Yeah, so it's a most solid way to do it. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah. So basically, it was like you realized that in a country like Thailand, where the military has basically controls everything as a yes or no thing, it's kind of pointless to decide to fight the law. You know, the old idiom in English is you can't fight City Hall. You know, because they make the rules.
I think those people never listen to people. Those
okay.
military, they never listen to people need. That's why they issue something like really not match people demand.
Yeah. So then you decided to become one of the lawmakers if you wanted to change the law.
Yes.
So this case that you're talking about, when you were busted for brewing your own beer, it was quite famous. It was in all the newspapers and stuff. This guy was arrested. I remember reading about it before I knew who you were, and it got a lot of attention. It got a lot of social media attention. So you decided to spend a night in jail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I not decided, but
well, it wasn't your decision, right?
Yeah.
It's not like you suggested it, but it was the better option.
Yeah, it's only option, and I think like at that event is really changed the Thai of beer legalized campaign scene, because people get more attention, because not much people know that you need to brew like 10 million liter. At that time, I got a lot of press attention, and I go all different channel and talk about beer, and people kind of like really. I think 99% of people agree with me, because people love the story that small people want to fight big guy, right? Want to fight some giant corporate. And I think in the sense that why you need to brew a lot, and if you can brew, why don't let other people do it too? So not only be a law in Thailand that have this kind of law, but many permit. In Thailand we have 8,000 permit. If you want to sell a charcoal, you need to attain permit for the charcoal selling too.
Charcoal.
Yeah, charcoal, that
right.
you use to grill things. So everything you do, government asks for the permit. So I think it's really a bad way of thinking of the government, that they're thinking like everything is owned by government and I will let you do it. It's like a father teach his son to do things, I think the good government, it should be less power and let people do things more freely and support them.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. And it's sort of like the old argument, right? If it should be legal to do, but it should be regulated. It should be taxed, maybe.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to let everyone do whatever they want.
Yeah.
You can't let someone start a meth kitchen or something like that. But brewing beer seems like a relatively benign thing. It's not causing many problems for everyone, as long as it's done to certain regulations and sticks to certain laws and is done properly. It shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Yeah, because most of the home brewing or craft brewing brewer in Thailand, they want to pay tax,
Yeah.
but they cannot pay tax. Like I think, and if you ask the excise department, they say, "Oh, we don't have enough people to control the quality. We don't have people to overlook anything like how much you brew. Maybe you brew exceed." They fear before it happens, right? They fear it before it happens. So that's not fair for those craft brewers and for the whole industry, because it's like a big opportunity for the new industry to pop up in Thailand, and it will create a lot of jobs, and maybe we can utilize Thai ingredient too. So we have many ingredients like some fruit and some spices. I think for the beer or Thai cuisine, Thai product, Thai food is very famous among the world, and
Right.
I think Thai people we're good at putting weird thing in our food or our drink, and it just tastes good. We bred to do that or something.
I'll tell you what, if you come out with a Somtam flavored beer that tastes good,
Many people do tom yum beer.
what?
Yeah,
Tom yum
they
beer?
add like lemongrass, lime, and all those spice in
Wow.
the tom yum. Yeah.
Well, you come out with a lab moo beer.
Yeah,
That's
lab
my
moo,
favorite.
that
my
good.
favorite dish. Lab moo beer. I would become a heavy alcoholic right away. I think it'd be dangerous. I don't know what's worse: eating a lot of lab moo so I gain weight, or drinking a lot of lab moo beer so I pass out. I don't know. I guess I'll have to ask my wife. So, can you give us an overview of the craft beer scene now? Is it still growing? Are there more and more people doing it? Is it becoming more popular, more open, more accepted?
Yeah, so I think it's compared to 5 years ago. I think there are every craft beer bar in every district in Bangkok, and I think in every provinces in Thailand too. So I think it's growing, but for the previous year, I think it's kind of strong because the economic too, because craft beer is so expensive and people tend to spend less for the past year.
Right.
But for the understanding about craft beer, for the drinking literacy part, I think it's very good now, more than like 5 years ago. And more people start to do beer like legally in the neighbor, such as in Cambodia, Vietnam, or Laos,
Right.
or even in Australia or Taiwan, and import back and sell as a Thai craft beer, which is like is very controversial. Some people are like, how is Thai craft beer? You not even brew here, but yeah, mostly is. I kind of like want to say that we borrow our neighbor law, So I think it's sadly to say that because I brew a batch of beer too, like legally in Cambodia, in Koh Kong, which is like just 10 kilometers away from the border of Trat province. So that not make sense, right? And I need to pay like transportation fee. I need to pay import tax, excise tax, and maybe it's 10 baht there or 15 baht a bottle there, and when it arrives in Bangkok, it's 85 baht. Yeah, so it's like what.
Yeah, and that's one of the big complaints is that, as well as like I said with wine, sometimes if you go out for a pint with friends and you want to get some really good imported craft beer, sometimes it's $12, $15, $16 a pint, which ain't cheap. That's New York prices.
Yeah. I think we got like one of the most expensive beer in the world. Yeah, but with our income like 6 times less than the state, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your place that we're at right now, the Taopiphop Bar Project.
Yeah, so my place is I think this is the second chapter. The first chapter happened in Karai, Nonthaburi. It's a place that not selling only beer, but give people experience, and it's becoming a community for the people. And here at Taopiphop Place, actually in the morning it's kind of like my office, the MP office, so people can come and complain about things and discuss about what he want to change. So I try to be humble and down to earth and see many people as much as I can because I represent them and I want to work hard and be there all the time for them. And at night, it's become a craft beer bar because sometimes, it's hard enough to work as an MP, right? But if extra work that I want to do, I want to fulfill my passion too. I always love to be behind the bar. I mean, not the sale, not the bar like that, but behind the beer bar and talk to people and serving good beer and suggest the good beer for you because I love beer so much. Yeah, as much as I love my people, so it's a fulfillment. And also I live on the upstairs, so it's like 3 in 1 place. So
right, so it's an office, a bedroom, and a bar.
Yeah, so it's your dream, right? I think it's every man dream that you come down and you have 100 of beer that you can pick and drink, and when you get drunk you just walk up the stairs get to bed. I think that's a good life, by my definition.
As long as, hey man, simple pleasures, right? So then let's go back to this famous arrest that got all over the place. So this is what sort of spurred you to realize that you can't fight City Hall, so I am going to do things legitimately and I'm going to be one of the guys that makes the laws. So can you sort of walk us through that decision and how you built up to that and how you finally decided to bite the bullet and do it, and then how you became an MP?
So let's start with at my bar again, because when I opened my bar in Nonthaburi, there are 2 important persons in my life now came to my bar and drink, and then they asked me to join young people assembly sort of thing, have a meeting activities that many activists gathering around, and then it happened to be the foundation of Future Forward Party, Mr. Thanathorn and Professor Piyabut there, and then they talk about how we shake the country, how we do the party for younger generation who don't want yellow or red shirt kind of stuff, because we never involved with this conflict. We stuck here. We 18 years old and they already been started, and we're not involved with that, right? And then when we graduate, we kind of in between the high of the conflict. So as my opinion, it's a good party, and I want to vote for something like alternative one. I don't trust in the old party anymore. So it's really easy for me to join, because back then, in my opinion, if there will be election, I will found my old party too. I will call it probably Thailand legalize craft beer and weed or something party. That's what I do. I will issue based party. I will legalize craft beer and marijuana. So that's my policy or something like that. But but the new constitution make it really hard to file political party, and a lot of the resource you need to take. So I said, I listen, and it's so hard. Okay, I join you.
Right. Rather
right away. And
so instead of starting your own, you joined one that already existed.
I remember that date that I decided to join. The cause is the 20 February 2018. I remember because it was my birthday. And that day I go home and on my motorbike, and I think, this year I had the best birthday present. My present is hope for the country, hope for change. I think it can be better now.
Right.
So that's why I decided to join, and I think the people who represent me is not really represent people. I never see them. I never know who they are. When I have problem, they never there, and they never listen to people need, and they never make any move for people. They just want to have a power for their own good, right? So it's very easy decision because I think I have kind of like a will to change the country, or I want to move out of the country, but I don't have money and connection abroad. So like, okay, let's do it. Let's try to change it. If I cannot change it, okay, maybe I need to seek asylum somewhere.
And it's interesting what you said about how this young generation is coming up, and they're not red shirt or yellow shirt, because the most recent coup happened in 2014. Now, it's 5 years ago, and a lot can happen in 5 years. And someone who's 18, 19, 20 years old, they grew up, they sort of came of age, became an adult in an era where there was no political options. There wasn't really anything they could learn about or fight or do. So they grew up and sort of started forming these adult opinions at a time, and they're like, well, I'm not a red shirt and I'm not a yellow shirt either. What am I? And I think that was sort of the impetus, the one of the kernels of what became this new politics in Thailand, because there was no choice for so long. So you had to make your own choice. You had to make your own decisions. You had to make your own parties, I think that's a really interesting snapshot of Thai history, is that sort of these younger generation of kids grew up and they didn't really have anything to stick to, so they had to make their own thing, which is what Future Forward, I think is sort of came from.
Yeah, part of it too, because we not only for the young people, actually we for everyone. I think like people are what we really believe is like people all create equally. So no matter you young or you old or you're poor or you're rich, you should be like equal by the law, and the government should make people as much equal by the opportunity, by the education, healthcare, and things like that, that the government should provide. So the rest of that, they can be poor, they can be rich, it's up to them, right? It's up to each individual. Like we cannot like make everyone equal by every standard, of course, right? So, but at least the same competitiveness, give them the same competitiveness. Right. We not start like so behind all the rich kids. Like we should have equal and free and good education. Our grandfather, our grandmother should go to hospital for free and get a good medical too, as equal as rich people.
Right. Everyone should have access to the same opportunities.
Yeah.
Right.
Sound like Canada,
right? But way warmer and more survive.
Well, I gotta say, honestly, since I've been doing these shows with you, I feel like I've never participated in a bad interview at all. Honestly, I've enjoyed every interview, but there was something about talking to Tao. He's so genuine. I don't know. Maybe he's just a natural politician in that he's actually not faking it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like politicians obviously have a reputation for being fake, but the bottom line is, if you're just kind of naturally personable and naturally friendly, then you're not faking it.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Tao. He's such a nice guy, and he's like, nothing about him says politician or fake.
That's right.
Or like, I'm putting on airs. Like, he's just a regular dude.
Yeah.
Who decided that this was the best way to get his beer business off the ground, and he was just really friendly and nice and welcoming, and we're super happy that he came on the show.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to I interview him in the second half of the interview, so that will come next week, and we talk a little bit more about his political career, but really we don't really get into the politics too much. But to be honest, I like him for many reasons, but besides just liking him personally, I like his message of participating in politics, which is something I try to, encourage my students to understand, that it's kind of everyone's right to participate in the system. You don't have to be anyone special. You don't have to be from a certain family, or you don't have to have money. It's everyone's right to not only vote, but even run for office. Anybody can run for office if they want to.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So he's really pushing a cool message. I think he's, let's be honest, right? The Future Forward Party has sort of upset the apple cart a little bit. There's been long established political quote unquote rules in Thailand. And I think, like I said, he's one of the new generation that's sort of starting to look around and say, hey, this doesn't have to be like this. So it'll be very interesting to see where he and his party go. And great interview. Thank you, sir. And if you like that, listeners, then come back next week. We're going to get into a bit more of his political career and let's take a peek behind the curtain in that regard.
That's right. And if you're watching the news, the Future Forward Party is very much in the news right now on a day-to-day basis, and they're still upsetting the apple cart. So much so that Greg and I were joking that, and even Tao was joking a little bit, that Future Forward Party may not exist that far into the future.
Right.
Yeah, so it's very current. All this stuff is happening on a day-to-day basis. So not only should you listen to these interviews, but you should also follow news about the Future Forward Party.
True that. All right, well, let's get into our very first round of our new segment we call Token Thai. Now, as you know, this podcast exists in part to help foreigners, including ourselves, better understand Thai culture. So in Token Thai, we're joined by our good friend Bowling, who works with us to get to the bottom of certain quirky elements of both Thai and Farang culture. See what we can come up with. So here we are talking to Bowling. Okay, Bowling, what have you got this week?
Well, when foreigner talk to Thai people who clearly don't speak English or don't speak English very well, why you guys try to speak slower and louder, but in the same language that we do not understand? Why?
I think this is pretty common. Is this only Westerners? Because I've seen this happen with Chinese people too, like some Chinese guy in the 7-Eleven yelling at the poor clerk. But okay, well, all I can use is my own perspective. For me, I would say probably because where I come from in Canada, no one speaks two languages. It's all we know. We don't have a backup. The only thing we can do is talk louder. And I don't know, maybe we don't realize how ignorant that sounds. I don't know.
Well, it's weird because to me, the slower makes sense because then there's a chance maybe someone will understand, because most Thai people obviously have some English. So they might just not understand the words. So by slowing down, there's an increased chance they might understand it. But I don't know why we get louder, but I know exactly what you're talking about because I know I've been guilty of it where I'm really just getting frustrated and I don't have another option. It's like because of my Thai being bad and I'm bumping up against their English, which is not very good. I guess it's just frustration or something, but it is kind of stupid, huh?
It is, yeah. It's frustration, and like I said, there's no backup. Because what else do I do? I have no second language to go to.
Still, what about when you see the blank in their eyes? I have no idea.
It should be obvious, right? You should see that and go, oh, they have no idea what I'm talking about. But to be honest, it goes both ways too. I've talked to plenty of Thai people, and they say something to me in Thai, and I go, "Mai khao jai," and they continue talking Thai. It happens on the phone a lot, even though I've said I don't speak Thai, although I say that in Thai, so that might
But if you
confuse things.
speak in Thai a little bit, they assume that you can understand Thai.
So I don't know. I think we should all take a lesson from this. Instead of talking slower and louder, we should talk slower and use sign language. Actions, mime it
Exactly.
out. That would be much more effective than talking loud. But
Pointing?
pointing, making faces, acting it out like a little improv class.
I got to be honest, now that I think about this, I think I'm actually worse when I'm speaking Thai because, what I do sometimes when I'm speaking Thai and a Thai person doesn't understand my horrible accent is I'll start speaking louder. Like my Thai will get louder, just because I'm trying to say it. I don't understand why they don't understand it, and I can't fix my accent, or I don't know what's wrong with my tone. And so I think I even do it when I'm trying to get them to understand Thai, which is bad. I mean, if you really think about it, it's rarely a problem of volume. That's actually rarely the problem. Like, I suppose if a person was partially deaf, then that would be the problem, But it's probably pretty rare that you're dealing with someone who's partially deaf.
That's like totally opposite to me, because when I was in Switzerland, I tried to learn French. And when I know that I cannot pronounce it correctly, like my voice just go down.
Like you're shy?
Yeah, it's like, maybe.
I just get louder. I just start yelling my bad Thai.
Right. I said sawadee crap. Something like that. Well, I guess I don't know. I guess there's no hard and fast answer for this, but I guess for me, I think part of it is just the fact that we have two reasons. One, we have, foreigners might not have an experience with that situation, and two, they have no backup plan. So the only thing they know how to do is speak louder. And maybe some pop culture enters into that. What's that famous actor who was in Jackie Chan movie, Rush Hour? Can you hear the words that are coming out of my mouth? Like, that was a very popular comedy bit and line. So maybe that might be the default that foreigners are set to for a lot of reasons. I don't know. All right. Well, thanks, Bowling.
Welcome.
In case you're wondering, her name actually is Bowling, as in bowling for dollars or 10-pin bowling. We do talk about this in a special intro that Bowling got for patrons only. But for all of our regular listeners out there, her name is not Bowling, like some Chinese name or something like that.
Boling, like some Street Fighter character or something.
Yeah, her name actually is the Western word bowling. And she's great. So here she is.
Yeah, we love her. Thanks for coming on, Bowling.
No doubt. So as we mentioned at the beginning of the show, we'd like to say thank you to James Gonzalez for lending us his support at the show shout-out level. And Greg, what did you find out about James?
Well, as it turns out, James lives in the United States of America, a country I think you're familiar with, Ed.
Yep.
He has been to Thailand a couple times, and he's thinking about moving here in the next year or two to do some work over here. So as you know, I always write to the patrons, and I was like, tell me a little bit about yourself. And he got back to us with a funny story, made me laugh. He said, I'm a normal guy. I got a wife. I got some kids. But here's the story. He said, one time I almost didn't get a job because of a background check. So apparently someone named James Gonzalez robbed a 7-Eleven in Houston while I was in college at West Point in New York.
Wow.
Fortunately, that guy did not look like me. So when I sent my picture to the background check company, I was cleared and got the job. I said, however, if I were into knocking off 7-Elevens, Bangkok would be the place for me, right? So I think, yes, there is a ton of 7-Elevens here, James, but one thing, I'm not going to get into the details here, but I put a lot of sort of idle thought into how I would be a criminal in Thailand, and it won't work. It wouldn't work. For me, I'm just too big, I'm too fat, I stand out too much. There's no way I could rob anything and not be picked up. Like
You'd be very easy to identify.
Yeah. So, and I think unless James looks like a small Asian person, with a last name like Gonzalez, I don't know. I don't want to draw any conclusions here, but maybe he can get away with it with a hat on, sunglasses, or something.
Maybe, who knows?
Yeah, but I would not recommend robbing 7-Elevens here, James. There's a ton of them, but a life of crime is not a good idea when you move to Bangkok. This is one thing that's always bothered me about The Hangover 2, among other things, is that there's those two Western drug dealers in The Hangover 2.
That's right.
Running around Bangkok getting into gunfights and stuff. I'm like, are you serious? If there was like two foreigners running around with guns, they'd be stomped in like half a second by the cops.
Yeah, we are fairly easy to identify here.
Yeah, I've thought about putting on wigs and mustaches.
Yeah, I don't think it'll work.
No, maybe I'll put on shoes on my knees like Dorf and just wander up to an ATM or something. Anyway, James, thank you for the support, man. But when you move here, I would say get a real job, like a regular job with a work permit, and do not turn to a life of crime. Just generally, it's not a good idea, but especially if you're a foreigner in Thailand, it ain't going to go your way.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right, a final thanks to our patrons who help keep the show ad-free. Patrons get a ton of cool perks and the warm, fuzzy feeling knowing that they're helping support the show. Find out more by clicking support on our website. And connect with us online. We're Bangkok Podcast on social media, bangkokpodcast.com on the web, or simply bangkokpodcast@gmail.com. We love hearing from our listeners and always reply to our messages.
True that, and you can also listen to each episode on YouTube, chat with us online, or even reach out to me directly on Twitter, where I am BKK Greg. Thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll see you back here next week.
See you next week.
Loathe about living here, or have come to accept it as something we cannot change and is just something about life living in Bangkok. I screwed that up a little bit. Let me say it again.